Why is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
It's interesting. They will not send you your ticket, via the Ticketmaster app or whatever until 7 days before the show. So you cannot sell it. You cannot transfer it to anybody else like you can normally. So they're doing all this stuff to make sure that the only people in that room are very excited to see Robert Smith be sad.
Which I love. And actually, knowing how my world goes with emails and whatnot, I actually like not having the ticket in my possession. I don't like searching for it, trying to find it, because things disappear all the time.
No, as soon as I get them, they go into that ticket wallet thing, because I'm just like, I can't, because I'm terrified I'm going to lose them.
Right. I put them in the wallet. I take a screenshot. I do all of that.
But then the screenshot gets bumped down by the time you get to, No, it's,
I don't have a favorites album. Are you kidding me? Have you met me? My home is organized. My brain is not. And my closet is probably the best definition of how disorganized I as a human being am.
So outside, you're giving off the impression of togetherness to the rest of the world, but inside, deep inside, it's a complete mess with everything falling off hangers.
Yeah, and it's weird because other closets in my home, pantries,
sure,
dish cupboards.
Dish cupboards, please.
The forks and everything is in the proper order, sized, everything.
The
mismatch, it doesn't. I bought a separate cutlery tray for Rachel's mismatched silverware she brought with her, because I didn't want it in the cutlery tray with all the matching silverware. So I am crazy like that. But my closet, my entire life, one, it's because I have too many clothes.
Right.
But two, I don't know if it's rebellion against my mother, could be. It's, doesn't matter how big it is, it's terrifying land.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
So the one thing I thought we should talk about, but there's a few things, but one of them, no, I think we should come out of that closet. And I think we should talk about this new Netflix film.
Oh, yes, we do need to talk about that new film.
So it is it seems to me to be sort of an arachnophobia-esque type film.
Feels that way, yes.
It is about a Chupacabra, which is Spanish for, I'm sorry?
Randy's ready for it.
Okay. It is a Spanish for some sort of legendary folkloric creature that I guess sucks the blood from goats and leaves them skeletized by the side of the road.
Yeah.
So Netflix, in their infinite wisdom and this thought of we're going to be a company that goes global, has decided to give their film a cute name.
Adorable.
And
short. Easy to spell, easy for searching.
Sure. And that name is Chupa, which seems like a perfect. That's an easy way to look up this film. Randy, you with us so far?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to remember why I've heard Chupacabra, just like that.
Wait, say it again louder, because that's
no, I got that. She's trying to figure out
better than Nigel. Is it you?
Yeah.
He's saying Chupacabra. It's way better. That's going on the end of the episode.
Right after the mermaid talking to people.
Yes.
But so calling your film Chupa is problematic.
A little bit.
Because the quite literal Spanish to English translation is sucker. And apparently in sort of Spanish slang, it is not, as if there were a good way to call someone a sucker. This is not the way someone who falls for a scam, let's put it that way.
It's not that kind. It is someone who delights in fellatio.
There we go. Okay, that works. So the thing I saw said basically, please do not let your children Google Chupa.
Yeah.
I'm assuming especially with your safety search off.
But my other question,
please,
and I need to look deeper. First of all, is this a family-friendly movie to begin with? Like, shouldn't maybe there are multiple reasons.
The vibe I get from the poster is that sort of arachnophobia.
Oh, you're right. Oh, and I'm looking at like the screenshot of the trailer.
Mhm.
Yeah, the kids are definitely gonna wanna
It's
Google.
got like a early teen scary sort of an R.L.
Totally.
Stein thing happening
There's
there.
like an adorable, is this the Chupacabra? I don't know. There's like some adorable things with wings, which I don't think, it almost looks like Captain. Wait, I gotta look at that.
Has someone started a second career and not told any of us?
Probably. I mean, that seems like something Captain would do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're out of the house for a while every day.
Right?
What else is he going to
I
do?
mean, what else is he gonna do? Someone's got to pay the bills. Might as well
Right.
dog. But seriously, but why? How? Because they have apparently Spanish-speaking people involved in this film. So
I was going to say, it's not like some
Damien
ancient
Bashar is the star.
language.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing in the way Chevy named their car Nova, and we're shocked that it didn't sell in Spanish speaking countries.
Right.
How does nobody, but that said, on our other program, Rock and Roll Grad School, our interview with Ron Young, when his band Little Caesar goes to sign, everyone says, oh, so it's a name of a pizza chain, right? And no one in the band had any idea. So,
Right.
but they're the artists. This is corporate making this decision.
Right.
And how do they get to the point where they're through with production? A poster is made, things have been edited, mixed, color,
Mhm.
everything. And nobody does a quick check on what does Chupa mean?
Okay, look, he does look like, oh, damn it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely that is, yeah, that, and they're doing sort of a Lion King thing there, we should note.
Mm-hmm.
But the caption you have on there, creature, is it squeaks and trills?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's adorable. I believe Randy, because she makes, she makes the big bucks as our producer.
Right. Keeps this ship afloat.
And being non-reluctant.
Yeah, good
Googled
point.
it, of course. And I'm now going to say this in a very inappropriate place.
Amazing.
The entry, Chupa Papi, means the entry breaks down the words within the phrase, saying that Chupa derives from a Spanish word that means to suck a dick, while Papi means father. And moon apparently means come on.
It's
That's
just
why Randy makes the big bucks.
right. No, it's great. And I think now we've gotten her computer flagged on some sort of text
Completely.
thing. Yeah.
Can't believe
But
she doesn't look that up here. Usually we get blocked from everything.
I know, I was curious. What was
But it's weird because like Y tu mama tambien is
Mhm.
not a term of endearment, shall we say,
No.
in Spanish.
Mhm.
There are other films, there are French films that have incredibly rude titles when you translate them to English.
Yes.
However, they are not aimed at a tween audience,
Mm-mm.
which is very strange. So maybe Chupa will be coming to your TV soon. But maybe it'll be a different title by that point.
I feel like they're gonna change it.
You kind of have to, right? We also put a parental advisory sticker on everything. So I don't know how we could talk about this and not go into some uncomfortable places.
Yeah.
But it would be a fun game.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I'm very desensitized to like safe for work because of the content of our product. So
Yeah, I
How
think
do
we
you-
are too, actually.
Yeah.
But how do you
yeah.
how do you do that? How do you even like what is HR at a sex toy company?
I feel like it's funny because when people find out, for me personally, that like I work for a sex toy company, they're like, oh my God, it must just be dildos flying everywhere.
Sure.
And, something like in a dark dungeon or something. But it's really such a normal day-to-day operations like business. So we have HR just like any other business. You know, we want everyone to make sure they're always feeling comfortable, especially because of the nature of our products and like what we talk about and our customer service stuff and all of that. But definitely people who work for us have a sense of humor. They're open-minded. They kind of have to be cool with working for a sex toy company.
Yeah.
It's funny, especially even at the trade shows, you know, when I first started going, I was like, what is this going to be like? And it's just the most normal people working their 9 to 5 with, you know, a dog and a house and their kids. And it's a lot more vanilla than you would. Yeah. Yeah.
So the Clone-a-Willy product, this, we were talking about this before. This seems like the ultimate chocolate peanut butter, you know, Reese's Pieces story. How did this idea come about, and
yeah,
what's the backstory here?
Yeah, it's a really fun story. So we actually started back in the mid 90s in 1996 in San Francisco, actually. So we say that we've been all about dicks since 96.
Love it.
Perfect. Alliteration is always important.
Yes.
One of our owners, who is actually the chemist behind the whole brand and the products, was working on his thesis project for his PhD.
Even better.
Came up with the process of creating molding kits. And after he graduated, he started kind of using that process because something wasn't out there that was just so simple that you could essentially do it at home. He started using it to make prosthetics and to also make body parts and props for movies. It was kind of, you know, CGI was coming about, but it was still a time where people used a lot of like physical props for things. And he had done it for a few different movies, and then he got hired on to make a bunch of penises for a horror movie. And the concept of the movie, which actually never made it to air, unfortunately, was that this serial killer woman would kill men and take their penises and keep them as trophies. So he made a bunch of copies of penises. And the kit itself on set and just in general with everyone he told about it became such a hit that he decided to make a retail version of it. And the owners are really first and foremost entrepreneurs. So I don't think he necessarily thought this was like the ticket item. It was just something that the opportunity presented itself. And it ended up being so popular because there wasn't anything else like that out there that people could actually do it at home successfully. And also because he's a chemist, he used really high grade materials. So everything was like body safe. It's not sketchy in any way, especially back then. And also really, really high grade silicone. So even though it at first was sold primarily as kind of like at Spencer's, you know, kind of a bachelorette, kitschy kind of present, it was still using really high quality silicone. So people created their own sex toys that they could keep for forever, essentially, and ended up with a really quality item. So it just took off from there. And then eventually they moved to Portland. So we're headquartered in Portland, Oregon. And we've been doing it ever since. And we then created the Clone-a-Pussy kit.
Sure.
Essentially the same thing, but for the vulva.
Yes.
And that one is more of a replica at first, just the standard Clone-a-Pussy kit of just the vulva. So it wasn't necessarily a functioning sex toy, but it was something that a lot of sex educators would use, or people would use it almost instead of doing the like hand mirror. It would be like, you know, cis women would have like a big party and they'd all clone their vulvas and then see them and share how different and unique and amazing they all are. But just right before COVID hit, we finally came out with a functional version that attaches the vulva replica to a masturbation sleeve. So that's the Clone-a-Pussy Plus sleeve. And that is just so popular that we can't even keep it in stock. It sells out immediately. People
Your timing was perfect to launch
Yeah.
it too. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like, I can't see you, but I will send you this in my
Yeah.
stead.
Exactly. And as a small company, I mean, we're probably back then, I'd say we were probably like 11 or 12 people. And we make everything in house. As a small company, just like everybody, we were really nervous with the pandemic. We had to pivot and really like shift and figure out how to make it work. And so we were nervous for sure, but then we just somehow didn't realize that our kit was perfect for a pandemic, and our sales just skyrocketed after that. So people were using it a lot because they were separated because of the pandemic, or people were stuck at home and they were so bored and they needed to spice things up that it was perfect for that as well. So
Double win.
we lucked out. Yeah.
Well, it's such an interesting idea. It almost seems like, oh, how come no one came up with this before? This idea of it's very personal. I guess you couldn't get much more personal, but that thing of it's not just a sex toy gift. It's also like there is a personal connection to another person because of this.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, we do like to say it's more than a sex toy. It's an experience, you know, you're making a memory together. It's both vulnerable and intimate and funny at the same time. You're getting your hands dirty, you know, it's like a do-it-yourself kit. So like you get to play with the alginate and mix the silicone and then have the final product that is kind of a crazy concept that you can create this sex toy all at home. I think the reason that we were the first to do it is just because having the chemist side of it, it was creating it so that people could do it easily at home and can follow the instructions. And I think that was probably the most challenging part, if anybody else had attempted to do it, was making it a really accessible kit and also making it pretty affordable for people as well, since some of the raw materials and that high grade of silicone can be expensive.
So clearly, yet again, another example why you want to go with the person who knows what they're doing with this stuff.
Definitely.
You don't accept imitators.
No.
Yes. Yeah. And it's really great being a small company. I help out with some of the customer service as well. And we are just so hands-on with everyone. So people get really creative with our kits. I
No
mean,
pun intended.
They're they are first and foremost a craft kit. So it's essentially people aren't necessarily buying a sex toy, but they're buying the ability to make a sex toy. So we've had people that also make other things with our kits, or have like a curve in their penis, or have, you know, a disability, or just have different things that they need us to help troubleshoot the best way for it to work for them. And so that's another thing where I feel like we do have a leg up on any imitators, because we have the owner and he's a chemist and he can just nerd out and be like, let's try this, let's try this. And so we're actually able to kind of help people on a case-by-case basis.
What other things do people make?
We've had people, so some people, you know, maybe they don't have a penis in their life that they want to mold, or maybe they don't even like penises, but they want something insertable. So we've had people use like fruits and veggies and making replicas of that into a sex toy. We've even had people use like action figures, or like, you know, mold their own shape. So people get really creative with it. And then we've also had people molded their fist as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I think about that. Yep.
Yeah. We've had people do all kinds of stuff. And then of course there's the people who want to use like maybe the Clone-a-Pussy original kit, and not even as a sex toy, but just as a memento. And so that's some of my favorite stories about our kits, because since it isn't just a straight up sex toy right off the bat, people get really creative with it. And it is really great for sex education and just educating on the vulva. And I think with that kit, you know, vulva having people aren't necessarily taught to look at it. Like it's very something, I think we're getting better. It's pussy power, you know, it's getting better, but it used to be like you could just stick a mirror down there, and now it's like you can make a mold of your vulva and like meet it face to face and see what maybe your partner is seeing, and so we have a lot of people that have worked through maybe being self-conscious of their vulva, or like just messaging that we internalize as a society, and can actually like feel pride and like reconnect with that part of their body. And I've heard from customers who have bedazzled them, like had a party with their girlfriends, bedazzled them, made like a little altar of self-love, put it in a frame,
somebody
tree topper. We did have someone make a tree.
a tree topper is
it's
perfect.
reason for the season.
I
Yeah.
feel like somebody's got to be like whipping it out on a date and like putting it on the table and going, what would you do with this? Show me what you do with this.
Absolutely.
And based on the answer, it's like, okay, well, we're done here. Check.
Yeah, I mean, just to the point,
Right.
No further
Yes.
questions, Your Honor.
Yep. Just make this way easier.
Yes,
Has anyone turned either of these things into paperweights?
definitely.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, and the Clone-a-Willys are fun because the vibrator, when it's on, they actually, if you have it like standing on a surface, they spin and kind of like dance on the table.
See, and that would make
Oh,
for a good
cool.
tree topper. That
Yeah.
is the tree topper, the spinning.
Yes.
But I think that's an important point actually for listeners who may not be familiar with the product yet. Like it's not like their standard just old school dildo. It's got the full vibration, all of it going.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that all of the kits come with the vibration aspect. I think they think you can add that, but all of our kits come with a vibrator. People can choose to use it or not to use it, but the kit is designed with the vibrator in mind. And so it's really important for people to use it most of the time because it properly displaces everything and will fill out the mold properly. But yeah, I mean, you want your dildo to vibrate, or at least have the option for that.
Right.
It's all about options.
It's all about options.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, it's interesting you say kind of coming from the, I guess, special effects background or the film industry, you always see those footage from the Star Wars films and such, where they're making a plaster mold of someone's face and they have tubes out their nose.
Yeah.
How long does it take to mold a part of your anatomy? And do you need to have tubes in your nose when you do it?
The tubes in the nose is completely optional.
Okay. All right. Well,
I actually tried to mold my face one time and didn't think about the fact that I would have to breathe. And so like a couple seconds into it, I panicked.
that's quite literally a rude awakening.
The process is actually super quick. And I think that's also something that makes our kits so accessible and user friendly, because a lot of people will be like, oh, you probably have to, hold an erection for 10 hours and like stand there with your penis in the mold for forever, but it's actually about 2 minutes in total. So from the time the water and the powder touch and you're mixing together the alginate, you basically have 2 minutes to stir, pour it into the tube, insert into the tube, and then you should have a little bit of time to kind of adjust to make sure you want to be as centered in the mold as possible. And then you just wait for it to solidify, and it should be about 2 minutes tops for that entire process. That is definitely the most quick moving process of the kit, and probably where there's also the most user error, just because a lot of people, it's their first time, it's not every day.
You don't say.
Are pleasant penises, and so it can be really quick moving, and people are trying to read the instructions. So we always recommend that people read the instructions ahead of time, and also, if possible, having a sexy helper is great to help them read the instructions, mix, get everything ready. But then after that, it's like smooth sailing. There's no rush to mix the silicone and pour it in. You just mix it together, pour it in, and then insert the vibrator and wait for about 24 hours, and then it's ready to go. And we've seen a lot of reaction videos of people like unveiling their replicas, and it's always so fun because people are truly blown away by the detail. Like it gets like, we've molded our fingers before and it gets fingerprints, so it gets every vein and crevice, and yeah, it's really an incredible experience that for something that you can just do at home yourself.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So what's next? What's the next product coming
We
along?
have a lot of stuff on the horizon. I feel like as a small company with, COVID hitting and everything, we, like I said, we had to pivot, but we have a lot of stuff kind of in the works, including more colors. We want to add more skin tones. Right now we have 3, light, medium, and deep, but like essentially we would love to be, like a makeup brand that has 40 different skin tone variations. The nice thing is that you can mix our silicones together. So you can kind of customize that, or even just like have fun and make some crazy colorful pattern. And then we also have other product ideas, in the works that, like, we want to potentially be able to do a butthole. We have a lot of people asking for cloning a butthole or cloning lips with the Clone-a-Pussy Plus sleeve kit type of option. And then we've also talked about doing like a breast kit, a butt kit. So there's, so many parts of the body that people,
the world is your oyster.
And they want to have sex with, apparently. So
yeah, a lot of spots.
No, I mean,
yes,
it's one of those fields where human invention will never cease to amaze, and like you guys get to deal with the front lines of that development.
Yes, it's true. And we get to hear from so many people. I've been with the company for 8 years this year, and I've worked a lot of events. Since we are so small, it'll just be like the director of operations and me working the trade shows or working a pop-up shop. And so we get to talk to so many different people, and people from just every facet and, niche of life come out and use our kits. And so there've been some really cool ones. I think that would be something we'd love to explore more, just like even more of like the subgroups that use our kits. Like people use them to stay connected with their partners who are incarcerated. That was something that we found out the last couple of years that's super powerful. So like learning more about that. And then one of my favorites was people who are in swingers groups like to use our kits. And we actually talked to someone at one of the trade shows who ran a dungeon, and everybody that was a part of this club would make a mold of their vulva or penis, and they had them all on display with like their name. And so anybody who was coming in for the night would basically pick their partner based on that.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's better than a mug club.
Yes. Yes. And also especially with sex workers and OnlyFans.
Of course.
Endless options there. And that's a really great resource for people who are working for themselves in that way too, to create their own products at home that are custom. Because I think a lot of people think about fleshlights and that are made of corn stars, but all of those are only the vulva. It's never like the vaginal canal, because that is a very kind of invasive process. So this is something where instead of having to go somewhere to a factory that's like really expensive and get it molded and created, any sex worker can make that for themselves at home. Yeah.
You mentioned, you said you have the 3 colors, and then there's some other options that are more do you know what the most popular colors?
Yeah. So we have right now 9 silicone colors. We have the 3 skin tones I mentioned earlier, light, medium, and dark. And then we have a jet black, if someone wants to get a little kinky. And then we have 3 glow colors. We have glow green, glow pink, and glow blue. And then we have hot pink and neon purple. The most popular colors are definitely probably our glow and our hot pink and neon purple. I feel like all of those are super fun. And our glow in the dark kits glow really brightly when they're like charged in the sun.
I was wondering about that. If like, can you read a book by it, or do you need?
Yeah, you can light your way.
Like better than
the power's out.
Yes. I'm just curious, like how do you put it out in the sun? You have to have a fenced in yard.
Yeah, or just or you can charge it in
Just
I guess it
cool
doesn't have to be
neighbors,
the sun.
Heidi.
You can charge it in
Cooler neighbors is exactly
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
need now. That's shame on me. I should have
Yeah.
known.
You can charge it in your house in the light as well. I just feel like the most powerful would probably be just
Gotta be out.
from the sun. You know?
Yes, you
Of
gotta go
course.
for the real deal, for sure.
And
Need that vitamin D soaking in.
Yes.
how did the name come about? Because I feel like there's so many options. Clone-a-Willy, it's certainly more playful than the other options.
It is for
Yeah.
sure. I think that the owners toyed around with a lot of different ideas for the name, and they just came up with Willy being something that is, fun. It's not too jarring. You can
Right.
kind of throw it around in conversation, and doesn't shock people too much.
Mhm.
And then it was kind of the same thing with Clone-a-Pussy, which I think we have a lot of taboo around vulvas and vaginas in general.
Yeah.
So I think pussy is a word that we're starting to reclaim as something
Yeah.
that is like kind of on the same level of
Right.
Willy, but because of what it is, people are like a little more shocked by the word, I think.
Yeah.
I just can't help but think, like, where would Cynthia Plastercaster have been with this type of thing?
Yeah, so actually, the owners actually did know Cynthia. She was a friend of the brand. Yeah.
For some reason, it warms my heart to know that
I
she
know, that
knew
makes me
what you
really
were
happy
doing.
too.
Yes. Yeah. So the owner grew up in LA and lived in San Francisco. So yeah, he knew her. And we did originally have a candle kit and a plaster kit, but they just weren't as great of sellers because in the end, people just wanted a really high quality silicone version of them. But the
Yeah.
nice thing with our kit is if you make the mold, we always say it's up to your own discretion because we haven't tested whatever materials you're going to fill the mold with, but you could essentially make, pour some melting chocolate in there or whatever, make a cupcake. You could pretty much make whatever you want.
We got to get our friend Diane on the blower.
I know, right?
Erotic baker to the stores.
Yeah. Yes.
And I guess one of the questions that always comes up with these things, and dishwasher safe, obviously without the vibrator.
Without the vibrator, yeah. So you can easily wiggle out the vibrator, and then it's totally. We are very big advocates for cleaning your sex toys. So yeah, dishwasher safe, soap and water. We sell toy cleaner on our website, but we are definitely always advocating, wash your sex toys.
Yeah.
So
give them a little bath like they're your children,
like it's your actual penis.
Yeah.
Lay it out in the sun to dry.
Nobody wants to play with it if it's not clean. Yes, put it out in the sun.
Yes.
For more information and to order your own Clone-a-Willy kit or any of the products they offer, check out their website, clone-a-willy.com. And if you use the code FLASH at checkout, FLASH, you will get an additional discount on your order.
Why the Podcast is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts because we're shallow and need constant validation. For more information, you can check out our website, whythepodcast.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hedquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?